Welcome back to the Cold Case channel. Today I'm going to do a compilation of 5 different cases. Came across a story of a 13-year-old girl named Rebecca Williams who had gone missing from Omaha, Nebraska. So I wanted to make an episode just about her story, but there wasn't enough information. As I was researching, I found that there are quite a large number of cold cases in Omaha. So I thought in order to get Rebecca's story out, I would just cover several cold cases and include her story in there as well. So today we're going to go ahead and start out with Rebecca's story. Rebecca Williams was reported missing on June 4th of 2003. Her remains were discovered 15 days later on June 19th of 2003, less than a mile from her home in a wooded area. 3 boys were hunting mulberries when they came across her remains. The police were able to identify her by fingerprints from a childhood safety kit, which are often done through elementary schools. Foul play was suspected, but no cause of death was released. The children were out of school for summer vacation at the time, and so it was actually a Thursday, which normally would have been a school day, when she was found. Someone did call into an anonymous tip line with some information the police said related to the, quote, prime suspect in the case. And they put out media alerts requesting the person please call back because they needed more information, but the person never called back. So what I'm going to do, because there's such little information, is I'm going to kind of go through some of the locations and talk about maybe some theories. Maybe someone will see this and recognize the area. So, of course, the first picture I have here is a picture of Rebecca, and she's just adorable. She's got such a big, pretty smile. I think it would have been more helpful to be able to find more pictures. I did a very thorough internet search, but I had no luck. So this is the trailer court, Park Meadows. A friend of mine and her children actually lived there at the time, and this is just north of about 108th and Fort area. It's on 110th and Ida Street. Now, if you're from Omaha, this is going to be kind of like the Ramble Ridge housing subdivision and the Cherry Hills Plaza shopping area. So here's a map that you're seeing on the screen, and I believe this red square is Cherry Hills, and so you can see how close it is to Ida Street. And then here's just kind of a different view. So you can see where the trailer court is located, and then just some different things around there. There's a couple schools, daycares, the shopping plaza, and even an airport. Now this would be the intersection where the 3 little boys found her, and it's about 7 blocks from the home. Which again, it's just so sad. This is kind of another view of the intersection nearby. Then you can see that it's a very wooded area. And now these are just a couple schools. This is Prairie Wind Elementary, so this was likely the grade school she had just completed. And then this is a new junior high that was built in the area, so sadly she wasn't able to attend. And so there are just some things that bother me with this case, aside from the fact that it's just tragic. There's almost no information out there. It says when she was reported missing, but when was she last seen? What were the circumstances? Was she playing in the front yard? I mean, they've given us nothing. Apparently they have a suspect, but they're waiting on someone to call back. Now, it's been all these years. The person's clearly not calling back. It seems to me if you have a suspect in mind, maybe you don't need that phone call. Maybe make an arrest, get it out in the media, maybe that'll prompt the person to come forward. But to my knowledge, there's just nothing. And it's just really sad. So many days went by. Were you guys searching? Comes to mind. It's so near the home. And I don't want to get into a lot of the details, but they had to identify her with fingerprints, and that just really struck me. So, is there some evidence? There's some DNA, something. It's just heartbreaking. But the number that you see here on the screen is the number that you would call if you have any information. And so this next case also has almost no information. The gentleman's name is Gregory Moore. Gregory was 35 years old on March 29th of 2004. He was found deceased outside of an apartment located at 2002 North 30th Avenue in Omaha. And so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, kind of show the location with some pictures. This is the area today. It's known as the Highlander Apartments. This is a gas station across the street. This is actually still here. The name has changed. And then this church across the street from Highlander was at that time Head Start Preschool Center. My daughter attended that preschool at the time, and then years later I worked at that same gas station, so it just really hits close to home. Very sad. The original apartments were demolished. Housing project called Pleasant View. And so here just kind of some pictures of after it was gone. I was able to find a few really old pictures of the location while the Pleasant View homes were there. This is just coming up the hill on North 30th towards Parker. In the background of some of these, you can see that same gas station there. It's not a lot of information, but this is the way that it looked at the time. So, hopefully someone will see this. It'll jog their memory. They can get some information out. Same phone number as before. Now, that is the case of Gregory Moore. Tragically, Brian Walker lost his life July 15th of 2005, Friday evening, shortly before 7 p.m. Brian was only 23 years old, a young father. He had 4 small children, including a baby girl who was only 1 month old. Brian went by the nickname LB. He was exiting the 99-cent store, which is located next to Cubby's, 42nd and Redmond, and someone approached him as he was coming out. A short chase ensued. The suspect began shooting as Brian attempted to run. Then the suspect ran between some houses and through a field to the west of the store. Police believe there may have been a car waiting for them at that intersection. So the pictures you've just seen were the area to the west of the store, and now here then is the intersection. Brian was taken to the hospital where he later died. There were multiple witnesses, including an employee who worked in a nearby business who actually saw him collapse. "I want to know who killed my son. Why?" his mom said in a news interview. "Everybody loved him. He has a good heart. He loved his kids." The next case is another young father named Jeffrey Snoddy. Jeffrey Snoddy's life was taken on March 29th of 2008 at a residence located at 2414 Hinebaugh Street in Omaha, Nebraska. His body wasn't found for 24 hours. One of the primary clues is that it appears he let the person into the home. The home is actually around the corner from me. My children went to grade school with a couple kids, I think were his niece and nephew, just darling kids. Jeffrey would try to convert people in the family to go to God, his aunt said in a news interview. His wife said every time you'd see him, you'd see his kids with him. On this next case, I was able to find quite a bit of information. Jason Jolkowski was born June 24th of 1981. On June 13th of 2001, Jason went missing. He was supposed to walk from his home on 48th in Bedford to Benson High School to meet up with a coworker to get a ride to work. Apparently his car was in the shop and he had gotten called in early, so he hadn't made transportation arrangements. This was apparently an 8-block walk, but he never made it to the school. So this is a picture of the area near where his home is. Quite a number of dead ends in the area, and would be very wooded at the end of each. And this is as you're proceeding down 48th. There's a large park there. It has a substantial sized lake. It's quite expansive with tons of trees. Another park that you would have to pass by along the route is a smaller Lake James Park. Now, I did actually drive over there. And in the pictures, I kind of tried to zoom in, but you can see that there is a sand pit and a little bit of a cluster of trees there as well. And as you proceed toward the school where he was supposed to meet his ride to work, these are just kind of some pictures of that. So this is as you come up the back way into the school area. There are 2 schools here, and this is just a common shortcut, and actually would have probably been the closest way to him, but there's really nothing back here as you're coming up the back way. And then you proceed into the parking lot. There's 1 school off to the right, and then you continue on, and then the Benson High School, which is where he was meeting, is on the other side of the parking lot. So here are some pictures of that. The back side of the school seems quite a bit newer, but the front side appears to be the original school, like maybe they've added on, which you can kind of tell the difference. So this is the back side of the building, and then here's the front, and you can see it's just kind of interesting. It looks quite a bit older. And then so this is the route that Jason would have taken. And so on this map you just see kind of some of the landmarks nearby. Now these blue lines show where the dead ends are. And then if you look, these pink areas, that would have been the through streets. And the highlighted blue lines show some of the side streets that would have intersected his path. And the purple circle is where he crossed through to the school. You could see the one side street that intersected him led to his church, which was Holy Name Catholic Church. And then there's also the Omaha Home for Boys, which you can see here inside the blue circle, which is a huge campus. I've got some pictures of that up here. There are many buildings and a lot of kind of area in between where there's just nothing. Trees, that's about it. And, you know, not saying this is the case, but it's a home for troubled boys, and it's quite near to his home and the path that he would have taken. So now a little bit more backstory on Jason and his description. Jason was 6'1" and 165 pounds. He had brown hair and brown eyes. Jason was a college student at Iowa Western Community College. He was also a DJ, so he was nicknamed JJ the DJ. I actually used to listen to that radio station myself. It was KIWR 89.7 The River FM. His parents said he was of high intelligence, but I read that he did have issues with communication with other people and kind of being aware of their intentions. So he did struggle with that, but he was a media buff, especially when it came to sports trivia. Now, I also read that the parents were required to wait 24 hours before filing a report, and that 10 days elapsed before a search began. And we hear this a lot in missing persons cases. Oh, well, so-and-so is an adult, so they can do that if they want to. And just assume that they left voluntarily. But Jason left behind about $650 and also 1 to 2 uncashed paychecks. His bank card and cell phone were never used again after he left. He also took no personal belongings, didn't get his car out of the shop or anything. So, I mean, if you're going to leave, it would make more sense to have those things with you. His family said that he was very responsible. There were no issues with drug or alcohol use. He had no problems, no enemies. He was very close to his family. He was also excited to be starting a new job later that month as a professional DJ. His neighbor said they last saw him helping his brother take the trash cans to the curb before leaving to meet up with his ride. He grabbed his red work shirt and left the house approximately 10:45. Somewhere between 11:15 and 11:30, his coworker called his home. The girl then called the boss, and he told her to just go ahead and return to the job site. Jason is reported to have been wearing black slacks, black dress shoes, a blue or black Chicago Cubs baseball cap, and a white t-shirt with either Sammy Sosa or the Chicago Cubs on the front. I'm not sure why they're so vague about what he was wearing. It seems to me that if that's the outfit that's missing from the home, then that's what he was wearing. But for some reason, it's vague. In addition to gathering surveillance video, the police also checked people who were known on the offender registry. It was reported they did search one residence, but nothing came of it. They dedicated a plaque and a tree for Jason at Roberts Skate Park, which is near where he was going to work at. And that wraps up the compilation. Thanks for watching. Bye.